in full diplomatic regalia, enters the holy city. The British are stricken with a sense of awe, wonder, and veneration as their eyes glimpse the golden domes of the Potala Palace. The Potala Palace has a great golden roof and, well, over 1,000 massive rooms and literally miles of darkened corridors. It rises sheer on its outcrop of red rock against the backdrop of the distant snow-capped Tibetan mountains. The current structure dates from the end of the 17th century. The first palace was built by King Strong Stan Gampo, a small meditation pavilion that burned down shortly after his death by Chinese invaders. Lashka becomes the political and religious capital of Tibet around 1640 or so, when the fifth Dalai Lama, Lobsang Gyatso, enthroned by the Mongol conqueror Ju Sori, sets out to unify Tibet. The fifth Dalai Lama then begins to build the palace. Potala means the abode of the Bodhisattva, in this case, Avalokitesvara, who embodies the essence of enlightenment. Lobsang Gyatso dies in 1682, but his regent keeps his death a secret so that work on the palace would not be abandoned. A monk who resembles the Dalai Lama was found and actually impersonates him for 10 years. It roughly takes a decade to complete the Potala Palace. The Potala is considered by the Tibetans to be the equivalent to the Western idea of paradise. The palace temples house the tombs of the previous Dalai Lamas. The most beautiful of these final resting places is the tomb of the 13th Dalai Lama, whose golden stupa is so high that it towers into another floor. A beautiful mandala is on the altar. This mandala is encrusted with over 20,000 pearls. Only 2 rooms of King Strongsum Gampo's original pavilion palace remain. The King's Meditation Cave, which includes images of the king and his 2 wives. The 2 queens are also considered living deities, the Nepalese Bharkuti and the Chinese Tara. The other room to have survived is the most sacred chapel in the Potala Palace, and it features amazing statues and paintings that date back to the time of the original constructions. Pilgrims entered the temple, prostrating themselves on the floor, and touched sacred objects embedded there. This practice bestowed blessings and good fortune upon them. The British next feast their eyes on the most sacred temple in the holy city, the Jokang temple. This is known as the House of the Lord, which does not lie in the Potala, but in an area called Bakhor. This was constructed at geometrically important points, so that in this way, emanations of the divine literally pin down the earth energies of the female demon that the Tibetans believe lies prostrate beneath the surface of the temple. The female demon lying prostrate is, of course, a link to the original Bon religion that is, of course, conquered by Buddhism. At the death of the king, he and his 2 wives were believed to, be absorbed into the statue of Avalokitesvara. The statue was part of the dowry of the king's Nepalese wife and was the most revered image in all of Tibet. The Jokang was built on the site of Lake Watang, which was filled in at the Nepalese queen's request. Prayer stones inscribed with the words of the pilgrims are a common sight for the British at the temple. The pilgrims also wrote their worries or misfortunes on the prayer flags. so that the wind then blows these troubles away. This practice originated in Indian and Chinese folklore, and then became a common practice in Tibet. Vajrapani, the faithful companion to the Buddha and one of the Dahani Bodhisattvas, who represents the scourge of the impious, stands to the right of the temple's central image, Avalokitesvara. The British not only get to see these grand and beautiful temples and palaces, but they also view the squalid parts of the holy city. The quarter, for example, the quarter for the Ragyapas. The Ragyapas are the outcasts who dismember the corpses of the dead. Of course, in this district, pigs and wild dogs frequent the streets, and the people are literally clothed in rags. Now, to the inquisitive Western world, vast tracts of mysterious